I'm Edwin Adkins. This is my colleague Sebastian. Today we'll be making some sushi in the Invoq.
We have the rice. Obviously, it's the most important thing about your sushi, so you have to make it right. And choose one who is suited for sushi and give it a good wash for a start. This one has been washed very well. We're only adding water, no salt as you usually would do.
So some of the ingredients that we're going to be using, some classic Japanese ingredients. We have soy sauce, sake, this is mirin, which is quite a sort of sweet cooking wine, and some rice wine vinegar, classic cucumber, pickled daikon or Chinese radish. It's a very popular vegetable used in Asian cooking. Some spring onions, candied orange zest, and sushi, if nothing else, is very pretty, so we're going to garnish it with some of these different sprouting herbs. Of course, where would we be without the classic sushi nori, which is toasted seaweed sheets, some wasabi. I have a wasabi powder here. It's quite difficult to get fresh wasabi in Denmark, so I've just mixed that up with a little bit of water to the wasabi paste everybody knows. Here I have white and black sesame seeds which have been toasted, and I have a yuzu. Yuzu is a Japanese citrus, like a Japanese lemon, which is spiced with some wasabi as well. I'll be using that on the salmon sushi rolls.
We put it aside and let it rest for 20 minutes. For seasoning the rice, we'll make a little solution composed by the rice vinegar, 144 grams, sugar 56 grams, salt 16 grams. Give a little boil and cool down before adding to the rice that have been resting.
Where would sushi be without fish? So I have a piece of raw tuna. Of course, when making sushi, the idea is to get the absolute best quality you can, although that can be expensive and can be difficult. You can also get frozen product, which nowadays is good quality because it's snap frozen, so it doesn't have such an effect on the texture of the fish. It's still very delicious. So this is actually a fresh. I also have some eel, which has been cooked and we've left marinating for a while in a solution of water and rice wine vinegar and sugar. Salmon, which of course is normally left raw, but this I wanted to add some flavour to, so we have cured it this morning. Not completely, it's still raw in the middle, but we put it in a mix of orange juice, lemongrass and some cardamom, and so that's just taken on a delicate flavour which will be really nice, particularly inside the rolls and whatnot. So some salmon roe, some salmon eggs. I've washed them, they need a good wash, rinsed them, strained them, and then I've cured them in a mix of 1 part soy sauce, 1 part sake and 1 part mirin. Left them to marinate for a couple of hours, and then I've passed them off, and that really gives it a delicate Asian flavour. It's really delicious. And we have some mini scallops, so we've taken off the rows of the mini scallops, and we're slowly baking them to dry them out, and then we're going to grind them into a powder which will give us a nice sort of colour to finish with.
Yeah.
So this is the important part, mixing in the solution. It needs to be mixed in very evenly throughout the rice, because the rice essentially is going to soak up that flavour. Sushi day, perfect opportunity to get the sushi knife out. A beautiful piece of engineering by Japan. It's designed so on one side you have very high carbon, very hard steel, which gives you an extremely sharp edge, and on the other side you've got folded soft steel, which makes it stronger, it makes it less brittle. And just on the inside of the blade there's a very slight curve being ground into the blade, so that when you are slicing the fish you have the least friction, so it doesn't actually touch the fish and rub. It's essentially slicing through without touching it. Very ingenious design. I'm a fan of Japanese knives. Okay, so we'll take our piece of tuna, and you can see you've got your inner part, and here's where the skin was for the nigiri. And then this I will chop up and mix with the spring onions. The marinated salmon, we want to take the thickest, nicest part for the nigiri, but first I'm going to remove the skin and just remove any bloodline. Let the knife do the hard work. Straight across the middle there, and that will be the piece we use for the nigiri, and this will go into the rolls. The scallops I have put into a marinade of 3 parts soy sauce, 1 part mirin and 1 part sake. The eel, and then we have a sauce which will go on top. These are used for the nigiri, and then the rest a roll. Tuna's a bit more fibrous. I'm still employing a slicing technique, a chopping or hacking technique. I want to maintain the integrity of the fish. So I'll take the dark green of the spring onion, and as much as you might be tempted to start adding some salt and whatever flavours, don't. This is more about the texture. The rest of the flavour will come once the sushi is finished and you're eating with the soy sauce and the ginger and wasabi. A good tip, when you take your nori from the packet, you don't want your nori to dry out. There's an element of moisture to it, and if it dries out it becomes very difficult to work with. So what I do, I cover it with cling film a couple of times, and then I place a damp cloth on top of it. So the damp cloth will essentially hold in all the moisture, but you won't make the nori wet, which is also very important. So that will be quite comfortable sat there throughout the sushi making process. So these sushi mats, they're made of bamboo. Flat side is the one you want to be working with. This is not absolutely necessary, but for me, instead of trying to clean sticky rice off this afterwards, I just wrap it in cling film to start. Now I'll make a basic sushi balancine. There's a smooth, shiny side and a sort of a rough side. So the shiny side will go on the outside. I'm going to fold it across the long side. Just cold water just allows you to work with the rice. So push the rice into place gently. You want to manipulate the rice, but you don't actually want to squash it together. You want it to be still quite loosely packed so that it's nice to eat. If you squash it together, it won't be as nice to eat. You just take a little plate in your fingers like so, not too much. Use 2 fingers on top and just gently shape it, pressing it together without squeezing it together. You want it to be as crumbly as possible, but to be able to maintain its shape. For the eel, take the eel sauce. We've kept the sushi nice and simple, avoided any mayonnaise and whatnot. We try to do it
a little more authentic
as possible.
Yeah.
So we're in the very fortunate situation that there's a little bit of sake left. So Sebastian and I will be having a
Kampai.
Kampai. and a piece of sushi for lunch. I'm going to have a piece of tuna. You can taste the flavour in the voice of the vinegar and the sugar, and there's a crunch from the spring onions with the tuna. And tuna speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for taking the time to watch with us today.